talk. Like, it's weird.
Right.
It was just weird.
Yeah, and getting to that, we're going to come back to that in about a minute.
Yep.
The main event of the show begins. It is the WCW World Title holder Hulk Hogan versus Big Bubba Rogers, who was Big Boss Man in WWF.
Yep.
This was a typical Hogan Boss Man show match from '88.
That's exactly. I literally put crowd loses their minds at Hogan. Classic Hogan match. That's it. He just posed. He bumped. Heel heat on Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I did note there was a great spot in this that I literally laughed out loud. You know, like the Brett bump when he gets whipped into the corner and he hits his chest really hard and falls backwards?
Yes.
Big Bubba did that. But he hit like so hard because he's like 350 pounds, whatever. And he didn't bump backwards like on his back either. He just hit the post as hard as he could. It was just great. I just thought it was great. Like, I had to note that. But yeah, I mean, classic. Oh, I also noted Mongo kept calling Heenan Bobby Hernia. This match, I think he said it 4 times. I don't know why.
I don't get it.
Were you surprised that Hogan is not as stale yet? People are losing their minds for him, dude. Like, I know it's 95. It's not quite like 96.
Mm-hmm.
But the crowd was losing their minds for him still. I was a little
but yeah, at this point, I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah,
just because it's late 95 more like because it's September. It's late 95.
Yeah.
Also, Jimmy Hart was there. I was a little surprised to see Hogan with Jimmy Hart because I know they came in together. I think when Hogan first signed.
Mm-hmm.
But does Hogan really need Jimmy Hart? You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, and that's interesting.
I was like, huh, all right. I was like, he needs a manager. I'm like, he's literally the biggest megastar up to that point in the business. I'm like, I don't think he needs a manager, but
yeah, good point. Very good point. Post-match, the Dungeon of Doom comes out and attacks Hogan. Macho Man comes out, and Sting comes out, and Lex Luger comes out.
Yep.
So the Dungeon of Doom, why they came out, this is setting up the it's Fall Brawl, right? Is that next?
Fall Brawl, yeah. War Games.
At Fall Brawl. So Hogan, Team Hogan versus Team Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom, Zodiac, aka Brutus the Barber Beefcake with a
it's so silly.
It's so silly. Kamala as Kamala, like that was just normal Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Shark, aka Earthquake, but they named him Shark. And then what's his face? Giant, right? Or no, well, Giant, yeah, but he wasn't here, was he?
Well, Shark was Avalanche, wasn't he? At this point?
Right. He was Avalanche, and then they made him Shark.
Okay, right.
He used to be Earthquake in WWF. In like the late 80s, early 90s.
And what was the fourth?
Was Giant in the... Giant wasn't in the ring, but I think he's the fourth in the match.
Okay.
But I know, obviously, the Taskmaster, aka Kevin Sullivan, he was in the ring. He's their leader.
Yes. Is he booking, by the way, at this point?
I don't think he's booking. I don't think he's
booking this.
I don't know, but I think Sullivan comes earlier 96.
Okay.
Because I know that he was kind of head of booking when Hall and Nash came in. But I don't know if he's head yet. I don't know who is. It could still be Flair, dude, because it's only mid 95. Right. But I don't know if it is or not. But it is silly. It's very silly. Because but at the same time, it's kind of like, what would they do with these guys if they weren't in like a silly Dungeon of Doom stable?
It's true.
So
it's true. Yeah, it's basically like, what would you do with them? Well, that's probably why they're together. Because
exactly.
They're like 4 rejects. Like,
yeah.
Here's the good news. This promo spot is something that we don't see a lot in wrestling today.
Yeah, I agree.
The hook. It's all about the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So how you gonna hook the people to come on back next week? This was good because Lex Luger starts talking. Why are you here? What do you want? You know, obviously. And we mentioned a few minutes ago, they started taking shots at WWF. Like Lex said, I don't want to be playing. How did he put it? I don't want to be playing with the kids. I want to play with the big boys.
Yeah, he said, I've beaten who you've beaten. I've been where you've been.
Where you've been.
It was actually a great promo, and I'm not a big Lex fan. Like it actually made me want to watch next week.
I was never a big Lex fan either.
I loved at one point because Luger slides and he's talking to him, and you hear Macho. He's not really on the mic, but he goes, "I told you he had an ulterior motive," and it's just like it's so great. Like the fact that you have Sting, Mach, Luger, and Hogan in the same ring. It was pretty cool to watch. And I'm not even a big Lex guy.
No, the ulterior motive is coming next week.
Yes.
We're gonna break that whole section down, but yeah, yes. You're right. He did great. But yeah. So this right here, Hogan just says, we don't have to wait a week. We don't have to wait a month. We can do it next week, and that's where the hook is. So they're gonna have the brand new guy that was on SummerSlam fight in the title picture next week.
Yep.
Versus Hogan. That's it.
And it was like I noted, like it was actually a surprisingly good promo from Lex. Like I said,
yeah.
Hogan, it's not hard to make like anything he does, people are like, oh my god. But I loved the chaoticness of just this too. Like I loved like for some reason it wasn't. I don't even want to call it organized chaos, but it was pretty. Like it was just the whole show was pretty chaotic. But they did the big angles that Bischoff needed to get through. I think they did really well for being live, first time, big TV prime time. I think they did really well for a lot of this stuff. Like the show, dude, I wrote down, like, just talk about building some heat. Because you got Luger Hogan next week, Macho Norton, Arn and Flair. Like, that alone is enough for me to watch next week. Mainly, yes. I mean, I don't really care about Norton at this point. But at the same time, maybe if I was watching back then, I'd be like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So I'd probably watch. But even just Arn and Flair and Luger and Hogan, because Luger and Hogan hadn't happened to that point. Because even Luger, late 80s, early 90s, was in WCW when Hogan was in WWF.
Yeah, and then
they flipped pretty much. Yep. Yeah. So that never really happened. So that was like, it was, because he was supposed to be Hogan 2.0. So it was great to see that.
Yeah, the other thing too is it was a good promo from Lex. And Hogan's always going to deliver.
Yeah.
But I believed them when they were talking to each other. I believed them.
It was nice to watch something and be invested in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, imagine too, back in the, like, if we were watching this per the live time, 95, we would have no knowing of what's coming next, and we would have no social media, we'd have nothing. We'd be like, dude, this is like Luger and Hogan next week for the title. Like, yes, please.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So I made a note at the bottom of the page here. WCW wasn't playing around.
Mm-hmm.
This encompasses like the next 3-4 years of what's going to happen on Nitro or in WCW. Because if you look at, like, from top to bottom, the cruiserweight match kicking off, the surprises with Lex and then Norton later, Sting and Flair, obviously, second match, Hogan, Big Bubba, like it's all there on this show. It's all there.
It's the cornerstones of, because it's crazy, because like when you watch Monday Night War or whatever, Bischoff is talking about, wanting to book reality. Like, you think that he just means NWO, but he started from day one, booking a reality-based TV storyline show. And I was like, dude, that's, because like I was literally surprised that there was this many run-ins. Like and the cruiserweight thing surprised me too, because because it's only 95. Jericho and Guerrero and Mysterio and Juventud and all those guys aren't there till like late 96, 97.
Yeah, they're ways away.
So they got like at least a year, and he's already there. Like, he's already booking cruiserweights, and it's like, wow, dude. I honestly was surprised that they did this well of a show. First day, like, live TV, like, anything.
Yeah.
But I thought they did great. Like, honestly, I thought the show, like, sure, the wrestling is what it is. Like, Sting, I'll take, like, Sting and Flair.
Was awesome.
Was awesome.
Yep.
And I think it was like, what, 10 minutes or something? Maybe not even. But, I mean, honestly, I'll say this about Hogan and Luger wrestling-wise, too. They did better than I thought they would, kind of. They were quick with each other. Or not Hogan and...
Hogan and Bubba.
Like, they did, like, because I was like, oh, Bubba's going to shit the bed. I literally said, I was like, but it served its purpose, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay. Like, I was invested. I wasn't like, all right, I'm going to go take a pee kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it did its fine. And Liger and Pillman alone was awesome and hadn't really been seen before. So I really think top to bottom, they did a good show, especially when you look at the fact that trying to build heat. I think that they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, like I said in the beginning, I didn't see this live in 95 as a youngster.
I wasn't alive.
You wasn't alive. You wasn't here.
I wasn't here.
But I have seen this later, and it's been a long time since I've seen this first Nitro, but it's better than I remember it.
Because I've seen it too, like, years ago, like 5 years ago. And I agree with you. Better than usual. Better for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because our taste, or not our taste, but we're conditioned differently now than we were 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It was a good show. Yeah. And like I would argue it's like a really good show. Just for the fact, dude, it was 46 minutes or 52 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
They did all of that. You had 3 major storylines.
That's true.
52 minutes. We don't even get that in 3 hours of TV. Like, that's crazy. So true. That is crazy, guys.
That's a great point. Yeah. And it was entertaining. Like, it had sprinkles of, just flat out entertainment.
Yeah, for real. It did.
So, yeah, man. I'm interested to see, too, while the war was happening, I was full bore WWF guy.
Yeah.
All the way. And then NWO came, and then I was like, all right, they're kind of cool, but I'm not going to say that too loud because I'm a WWF guy, right?
Right, yeah.
And then they turned Sting, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But and then, of course, there was like the cruiserweights. Oh, yeah, they're pretty good too. I mean, we should get some of those guys over here in WWF, right? So I'm interested to go through and see if I have the same reaction to it or if I flip a little bit.
Knowing you, I think you'll flip because I didn't watch any of that stuff live because, like I said, I wasn't alive. Like, I was born in 2000, so WCW was garbage by the time I was born, and I was obviously not even one. So I wasn't watching wrestling. But going back and watching things, anytime I've seen a WCW show, I've tended to enjoy that more than WWE. Well, not like necessarily. Like, I don't want to say that, but at least from 95 to 97 when the ratings were good.
Yeah.
I could see why the ratings were better. So I'm interested. This will be a fun podcast that we're doing here because we're going to really be able to take a trip down memory lane. And I think it'll change our opinions on a lot of things because mine's already getting changed. Like, I hate Luger, and I was like, after seeing him here, I'm excited to watch him wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like, yeah. It's cool to see that. But I mean, I'm going to prep it all falls apart. This first Nitro kind of falls apart next week.
Yeah, a little bit. Show. Yeah. A little bit.
So hopefully that doesn't keep up, but we'll get to that on the next episode. But yeah.
Yeah. So as we go through, we're gonna, I guess, right? We'll do Nitro and Raw, and we'll do side by side comparisons,
segment by segment,
and then we'll decide which one we liked better. I guess that week.
So this week, Nitro was the winner. Poor Raw.
Obviously going.
Hey, here's another thing too. I don't know.
Going alone. Solo.
Solo. I felt bad. Well, I don't feel bad, but what is Vince doing? He's giving free eyes on Nitro. I mean, it was probably the network, but I feel like he should push a little bit, at least for their first episode, to be like, hey, let's split the fan base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know why? Because if you go on the network and you go over to the Raws,
yeah,
there was one obviously before SummerSlam, but I think it was August 11th.
Yeah, they skipped.
So they just skipped 2 weeks or what?
Yeah, because he was starting the fall season. I think it was because they were starting the new contract with USA or whatever.
Okay.
But still, bro, just start it early or something. And don't be surprised. I'm honestly we could just Google this. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in Europe or something, and they just didn't want to. They didn't have the time to produce it, so they were
That's possible too.
Because you know how they were. But either way, I think Vince really dropped the ball on letting this, especially with how good it was. He really dropped the ball with just being okay, they're gonna be. They're not going to have competition this week. But I definitely think there's probably new fans made. I'll say that.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I like we said, good show, really built heat. 3 major storylines started. Mongo's garbage. He needs to leave. Dude, he is bad. I love Teenan on commentary. Yeah. Bischoff, he's fine. He does the job. If you notice though, I would prefer if Bischoff, I know why he was the announcer for a while, because he wanted to do things his way. But Shivani would have been probably better, or whoever else, because if you notice, he gets kind of distracted. There's a lot going on for him to handle, I think. Think about if JR was just sit JR Shivani there, they can focus on the matches. Bischoff always seems he's all right, bang bang, and for good reason. I'm not saying he didn't do his job well. I'm saying he had so much going on. It's weird to me that he but Vince did it for a while, but he just seems distracted at points. He's not really focusing on the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, well, I know I've heard Eric talk about. I believe he made the choice to do commentary because he thought it was too Southern,
right?
and he wanted to, compete with Vince. So he felt like he had to get that voice, that Southern feel.